Abeg, make una lis ten to this one. Today's news na real mixed grill. Make we break am down. First, we see the Armed Forces Remembrance Day for Abuja. E good as dem honor our fallen heroes, but the presenters talk true, no be just to lay wreath every year. How the families and the wounded soldiers dey chop, that one na the real honor. Then, the Defense Minister, General Musa, come out with strong head, warn those wey dey back bandits. He mention Gumi sef. The analysis here clear. You no fit dey run mouth for social media, dey support people wey dey carry gun. Fire for fire. Omo, politics enter.
Colorful yet solemn. Nigeria's Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day honors fallen soldiers from past wars to today's fight against terrorism, while recognizing veterans and their families. Dignitaries, government officials, and service chiefs arrive in a formal procession. The arrival of Vice President Kashim Shettima, representing President Bola Tinubu, marks the formal commencement of the ceremony. He takes the salute and inspects the guard of honor. Prayers are then offered by Muslim and Christian clerics, followed by a minute of silence. The Vice President then leads the laying of wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier, paying tribute to those who sacrificed their lives defending Nigeria's security. The firing party delivers 3 volleys, followed by the release of pigeons, a symbol of peace, bringing the ceremonial proceedings to a close. For the Minister of Defense, the occasion is deeply personal. Last year, he attended in uniform as Chief of Defense Staff. This year, he comes in civilian capacity, overseeing the armed forces from the political helm.
It's exciting, a new challenge, and I think what the armed forces have done for us is that it prepares you for whatever. So this is part of it, and then we'll take up the responsibilities and continue with it. So I want to thank Nigerians for the support to the armed forces and to continue to make them understand that the challenges we are facing is surmountable. We're working together as a team, as Nigerians, and that's what we pray for.
Lawmakers say the remembrance must be matched with support for troops.
We are proud of what the President is doing about the welfare of the men in service. It can only get better. With time, it will keep improving because security is on the front burner, and as Parliament, we are not going to look at anything else but improving the budget where need be to ensure that all that the military, the armed forces need, that they have them.
For those representing veterans and families of fallen soldiers, the message is directed to troops still in harm's way.
Today made us to remember the fallen heroes and those ones still serving. I said those ones still serving, they should have hope and have assurance that after the service, something good is waiting for them.
Military families, often described as the silent casualties of conflict, were also acknowledged. The wife of the Chief of Defense Staff, who also chairs the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, says concerns of welfare are being addressed.
Many women have not just lost their husbands, some have, even those whose husbands are alive, have had to raise the families alone. There's a lot of sacrifice that has been paid by military families, and I want to say to them that we as the leaders see you, we hear you, and I believe that Nigerians are gradually beginning to understand the level of sacrifice that is made by the military community.
Wreaths have been laid, prayers offered, and the last post sounded here in Abuja, bringing to a close Nigeria's Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day for 2026. But beyond the ceremony, today is a reminder of the cost of the country's many security battles and the men and women who continue to serve on multiple fronts. From the arcade at the 3 Armed Zone in Abuja, Adesua, Omoran, Arise News.
Well, a beautiful report there from Adesua Omorowan on the Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. Of course, when we consider all the insecurity in Nigeria, it's always very easy to forget sometimes, that some people are paying the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that Nigerians remain safe, to ensure that we enjoy relative peace, both internally and externally. So, Adesua, what do you think of the way our fallen heroes, and even our serving heroes were celebrated this year?
I think it looks like how they were celebrated last year and also the year before last. I'm not entirely sure that we as a nation have actually had a very solemn moment with each other about the cost of our protection, the cost of our safety, and the men and women who are losing not just life but also limb in order to protect us. Because not just are we talking about the fallen soldiers and the families they left behind, but we have soldiers that we see today who are amputees, who might have lost their sight, who have been, who have been seriously injured and have to then go through life as disabled persons. And we must ask ourselves what is being done for their welfare, what is being done, to take care of even those who are still here with us. Those are the questions that we need to keep asking ourselves. It is heartbreaking when you see that there might not be a national consciousness of the fact that there are people who go every day to the dangerous areas of this country to protect us. And it might have to do with our history of military rule and perhaps people having not exactly a pure relationship with the military. However, now in 2026, particularly when we've seen pressure from the international community, we're seeing a lot of young Nigerian men and women putting their lives on the line. Just last week, one of the victims of the our church massacre was talking about being a double amputee and losing one eye. And that's a terror victim, but we have soldiers, ex-servicemen and women who are living like that today. And so I think instead of us just having these events once a year and, wearing the pins and moving on, we need to think about the welfare of those who are still with us.
Definitely, and it has to be a continuous thing throughout the year. Well, I know that the president, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, he reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to the welfare and dignity of serving personnel, and he promised that he will continue to support the armed forces, in confronting all the security challenges in the country. Now, for me, on a lighter note anyway, the pigeons, they flew this year. So I think that's a great thing. It's supposed to symbolize peace, unity.
Possibly
so just on a lighter, a good omen.
Possibly a good omen. Well, still on security, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, this week warned Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi and other individuals perceived as sympathetic to terrorists and bandits to desist from providing overt or covert support to criminal elements seeking to destabilize the country. Speaking in Maiduguri, Borno State, which has been the epicenter of Nigeria's decade-and-a-half struggle against insurgency and terrorism in the northeast, General Musa made it clear that those who engage in such acts of sabotage do not represent any form of regional, ethnic, or religious brotherhood. He stressed that Nigerians must refrain from supporting or justifying criminal activities in any form, and explained that his remarks were deliberate and purposeful, not merely symbolic. I think these remarks coming from General Christopher Musa are very important and very necessary, especially in light of what we've seen in the past week as well, coming from Kebbi State in terms of releasing bandits in a prisoner exchange or in exchange for hostages, in light of some of the utterances that we have seen from these clerics. What is important here is that he's saying it's not symbolic. And I think, I've also watched the interview that he did with the BBC House recently, and he was talking about how our fight against terrorism cannot just be about guns and bullets, that we must also talk about this moral element that we are dealing with in our society, where we have people sympathizing with terrorists, people sympathizing with fraudsters. It seems that the moral fabric of our society has been broken in some sort
of way. And that is critical. As he said, a friend of a thief is a thief as well. But it's also because some people are saying, oh, this person is a criminal, and other people are helping them launder the money they stole, and they feel that they're exempt from the theft, or they're exempt from the original crime. And it is not. You are still part of the chain of events. I think there is anyone who's serious about Nigeria's future and security also has to be serious about healing the moral fabric of our society right now.
Definitely, you've said it. You know, you couldn't have put it any better. And frankly speaking, I think this warning from the defense minister is long overdue. This is something that should have happened a long time ago. We've had a lot of sympathizers, we've had a lot of clerics come out to actually advocate, you know, for these bandits. And it just makes you wonder, really, what is Nigeria turning into? How do you begin to try to justify and legitimize violence? I can't even describe it. So I really appreciate this message from the defense minister. And I believe that apart from warning, next time somebody crosses the line and actually attempts to defend, you know, or advocate for these bandits, I think something more serious should be done. There should be consequences for sympathizing with and for trying to legitimize what they're doing under whatever guise. A lot of Nigerians are facing severe economic hardship. If everybody decides to start committing crimes as a way of finding, you know, a solution to what they are going through, would be in a state of chaos and anarchy. So really, you cannot defend the indefensible, and this is what some advocates have been trying to do.
Definitely.